what the fuck? Oh my God, this is a fucking trip. I've been thinking all day, like, where do I put my hands? Do I put them here? Do I talk with them? I don't really know. And you never know really how to start. Like, what the fuck do I say? I'm not going to start from when I was born. I don't know. So this is a lot of pressure, man. You know, I've been coming here. Hey, I'm Nate. I'm an addict. See, I fucking told you. Alright, the pressure's getting to me. I forgot the very most important thing. I'm Nate, and I'm a fucking addict, and I'm really grateful to be here. And I was thinking about like my sponsor and what he would tell me before every time I speak. And he would tell me to like just go ask the universe. Like I don't have a plan. This is not going to be a story. It's going to be all over the place, I'm sure. And I'm going to check the time to make sure I don't run over. I won't hold any of you guys hostage. I know you want to dance and shit. But I was just thinking about my sponsor, man. He would just tell me like whatever I'm supposed to say is what I'm supposed to say. And really, I just feel indebted to Narcotics Anonymous for my life, you know? And I want to, really my goal is to just carry some kind of message to anybody who will fucking hear it and hope that I have something to say that's carrying a message. So I guess the way I really wanted to start was saying that the message of Narcotics Anonymous is that an addict, any addict, can stop using, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to fucking live. God damn. And the person who told me that the first time I ever heard it in 2012 was in this room tonight. And it means the fucking world to me, man. You know, I didn't know that I had a disease. I thought that I had a moral deficiency, man. I thought that there were good people in this world, that there were doctors and lawyers and people who were productive citizens, and then there were people like me and my family, you know, who ran the fucking streets, who had to live on the system, who were going to be poor junkies until the day that we fucking die. I didn't know that there was a way out, man. I had no fucking idea. I just thought that was my existence. And when I got clean, I didn't know that I wanted this life. I never seen a good life. I didn't know that this was possible for me. You know what I'm saying? So when I got clean, when I got clean and heard a message of Narcotics Anonymous, when I saw, you see the steps and its spiritual principles and there's God in there and all this shit, I was like, fuck, no fucking way. I'm going to be punk rock and listen to Pantera and fight people until the day that I fucking die. Okay? Well, that day was coming up pretty quickly. Because I was really close to death, and it wasn't cool. It wasn't as glamorous as I thought it would be. I wasn't a rock star. I was a little street junkie in Huntington, West Virginia. You know what I'm saying? And I was in a lot of fucking pain. So when I got clean, I'd never heard a message of Narcotics Anonymous. I knew, so I used with my mom a lot, right? Many people have that experience. I used with my mom a lot. She showed me how to use. We did all that together. And I remember her going to like treatment facilities and then getting out, and she would go to these meetings. And I remember her, it's just one of these things you feel remorse about. She would get these key tags. She'd be going to these meetings, and she would have these key tags of different colors and shit. And I was still using, and I was pissed that she wasn't using. Crabs in a fucking bucket, man. I was pissed she wasn't fucking using. And I cuss a lot, and that's just how it's going to fucking be. So I remember being pissed off she had these fucking key tags and being like, I was a vessel for the disease of addiction. I was doing anything I could to infect people with the disease of addiction, especially those closest to me. And I remember trying to get her to stop going to those meetings and shit because she had the scripts. She had the money. She had the disability. And I needed that to use. And we do whatever the fuck. I don't got to tell you guys what the fuck I'm talking about. And so, but I had no idea that you guys were trying to save her fucking life, but not only save her life, but save mine. Yeah. Without me even being there. I had no idea. And the disease of addiction is fucking strong, man. It's fucking strong. And so, I remember when I came to my first my first Ripley convention. I had 90 days clean. And it was in 2012, and there was somebody here that I rode up with that was that was using. And they had left, and they were going to bring them back. And I remember somebody saying, you got to be careful, because the disease of addiction is stronger than all of our fucking recovery here right now. So just be wary. You know what I'm saying? And I also remember him being loaded and talking shit to a bunch of people who had pissed hot at the treatment center we were in. Him being like, "Get on this motherfucker!" And he was super high. And that was really weird. But I remember, and I've been thinking about this shit all day, because Erica asked me to speak months ago, so it's been like psychological warfare for the past several months. It's just always in the back of my mind. I'm like, oh shit! I'm in the shower, oh God, the day is approaching. What the fuck am I gonna do? Because I remember my first Ripley, man, and I remember coming to this, and we were here early. We were here for the welcome meeting, and all these people I was with, and everybody was super fucking rowdy, and I had never experienced anything like that in my life. And I remember it's just a big party, and it was super cool to be clean and party, and you know what I'm saying? I had 90 days clean, and I remember on Sunday morning, my first convention, Ivan was the speaker. Wow. And I remember it vivid. I didn't know who this crazy motherfucker was. You know what I'm saying? He's my great grand sponsor. But I didn't know. I had 9 days clean. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I remember him being up here speaking, saying that people in Narcotics Anonymous are changing the fucking world. Changing the fucking world. And I was like, this guy's out of his motherfucking mind. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. People in Narcotics Anonymous changing the world. And I was like, this guy's full of shit. He's just saying some shit. He's like, what is this, a motivational speaker? What is going on? But for whatever reason, that stuck in my brain. And it is seared in there. And it was something that I have revisited time and time again over the years, right? So, I leave. I just wanted to share these experiences I had with Ripley first, I leave Ripley and I go back to this recovery house I was living in or whatever in Huntington, West Virginia, a home where they pack in as many motherfuckers as they can and take their money. So I was living in there with that guy, and and so it was my first introduction to Narcotics Anonymous, and I ended up relapsing. I ended up relapsing after that. I started going back and hanging out with old friends, and I would be skipping the meeting and going to the bar and hanging out with these old guys and thinking I had some weight on me, and I was getting attention, and then not really knowing what this disease was about, not knowing what recovery was about. I didn't understand that this disease isn't about the drugs. You know what I'm saying? Obviously until it fucking is. But I didn't realize that. I thought I could use this substance and this substance that weren't ever my problem. You know what I'm saying? These weren't my problem. But the problem is not the substance. It's not the substance's fault that I use it to make me feel different, because I cannot cope with the way that I feel inside. You know what I'm saying? So looking back at it now, I see me moving in silence and being a sneaky ass drug addict about it, and just packing all my shit into a bag and moving out of the recovery house one day and finally wiggling my way into using these substances that weren't ever my problem, right? Well, they quickly became my fucking problem. Because I only used these substances that weren't my problem, but I could not stop using these substances that weren't my problem. Even when they made me feel terrible, I was panicking and a nervous wreck and oh my fucking God, I don't like this at all, but I gotta keep doing it. I gotta keep doing it. And I would call my sponsor because I wanted to quit, man, but I felt shame for leaving, and obviously I'm a drug addict, so I want to keep using drugs. And I would call my sponsor, and he would be answer the phone, hello, and I'll just hang up and cry. Oh, God. I remember being in the bathroom, oh, God, I can't do it. But thank God for Tom Morgan, rest in peace. He berated me and forced me to come to convention. He forced me to come to the next one after I had relapsed. And so I've been sitting here reminiscing with the Clean Time Countdown because it was then in 2013 that I was the guy you motherfuckers held up on a chair. You know what I'm saying? I was that guy. And I think Brittany had a video of it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like freaking the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? And that sounds like a really cool story. And it's like, oh, he got clean. But I didn't get clean after that. I went home and used again. Because I didn't do any fucking thing different. I just went back home. I just went back to what I was doing. And that's a testament to the program of Narcotics Anonymous. Because when I'm around you guys and I'm connected to you guys, I feel free as fuck, man. You know, like this weekend I feel free as fuck. I feel better than I have in a super long time. And I didn't even know that. I wasn't even feeling bad. I didn't even know. I feel good as shit. You know what I'm saying? But I went back home, was doing the same old shit, and I used like one time after that and was like, what the fuck am I doing, man? And thank God for the people in my area and surrounding areas, because I was staying up near Charleston, and the people came and got me and took me to meetings. And what I'm getting at is that I haven't had to use drugs ever since the day that I surrendered and started writing step work again. Ever since I started writing steps in Narcotics Anonymous, I haven't had to use drugs. And that's what I wanted to get at, was that like any major change in my life has always come from step work. And I need you guys to show me how to live. And I need you guys to be a beacon of hope for me and hold me up when I'm falling short and shit. But like, I have to work, which sucks ass. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a really slow step worker. Don't even ask me. I'm really slow at it. But so far, it's been going great. Still doing it, even though I don't want to, because it's work, and I don't want to do any work. I just want all the cool shit for nothing. You know what I'm saying? But you know, man, I grew up in a culture of using. My mom was super mentally ill growing up. And, you know, my dad was using, and he was like super addicted to work, and he wasn't really ever around. I was seeing him maybe every other weekend or whatever when I was a kid. But I just grew up in a culture of using. And I just thought that wasn't a deviant behavior for me, really. It was just like what people did, you know. So by the time I was a teenager, I was already getting things from my mom. So I didn't know that there was another way to live. And I remember, you know, obviously, things fucking progress. We all know what it's like. And you know, that's one of the reasons I love Narcotics Anonymous, because when you first get clean, there's a couple fellowships that you go to and you visit. And people in NA would be like, you know, 90 and 90. Work steps or die, motherfucker. Be of service. Find whatever that means to you. And they say, pick a fucking fellowship and just go all in. Be of service. I was doing flyer day. As soon as I could, I was doing HNI. I was going to area service. I think I did that once and never again. You know, so when I got clean, I washed ashore. You know, I don't know how. It was just the end of the road, man. There was no more ways to get, no means, no nothing. I was living in a fucking house with no electricity and no power. It looked like there hadn't been food in that fridge since Nam. It was disgusting. We had an extension cord running from the house next door into our house, and it was like hooked up to a power strip that had like a window unit air conditioner and a TV and some other shit, and every once in a while it would just spark and catch fire. And you know, so I saw somebody that I had been using with at Sheetz, because Sheetz, you know, at Sheetz, and he looked good, bro. And I was like, damn, dude, what have you been doing, man? And he was like, "Fuck, I got clean, go to rehab." I was like, holy fuck, you know. I didn't know that was an option. This shit sucks, you know. So I get, obviously, so, you know, and I know treatment's not everybody's story. It doesn't have to be. What I'm getting at is I heard a message of Narcotics Anonymous from a member of Narcotics Anonymous, and thank fucking God. Because when I first heard that I had a disease and not a moral dilemma, that there was something I could do, that there was a solution, it blew my fucking mind. I mean, I don't remember another point in my life that I've felt more weight lifted off of my shoulders than when he told me that. Because I had never heard that, man. I had no fucking idea. And so I was like, oh shit, we better get the fuck on board with this. You know what I'm saying? So like I was in treatment with like No Time Clean, very, NA soldier guy. And like I was going to the meetings they would take us to, and I had a notebook and a pen, and I was writing everybody's numbers down, and I would call them from the payphone at the end of the hall, and some of them answered, some of them did not. And I would get every IP, and I was in my room. Oh yeah, this guy I was like rooming with in there. He was like pacing back and forth, super pissed because he wanted to use. He's like, we gotta get the fuck out of here, man. We gotta get the fuck out of here. We gotta get out of here and use, man. And I had the little white booklet. I had the little white book, and I was like, hey, man. I was like, it says right here, we never have to do that shit again. So I went to sleep, and I woke up the next day, and he was gone. He hadn't left treatment, but he had just moved into the guy's room next door, who was also not super happy about being in rehab. But, when I washed up into a fucking, when I washed up, man, it was like I weighed 130 fucking pounds. I was like, I don't know how the fuck I was still alive, bro. I have no idea. I don't even remember when I had eaten last. I think I stole shit from Speedway a lot, Those cereal bars with the fake milk stuff in the middle. I don't know why I was so drawn to those. Maybe they have a lot of calories in them that I needed. You know what I'm saying? That's what I got. And I would steal them a lot until they caught me, and they were like, "You're a little son of a bitch, never come back." I was like, "Shit." So I'm in this facility, bro, and I have no shoes. I have no fucking shoes. I have no clothing. I did wear my nicest shirt to rehab though. It was a Dollar General shirt, and it was a polo, and it had stripes on it, and I still have the picture, but I had no shoes, but they didn't know that because it was just and I was like this. I looked like Grumpy Cat. Real upset. And I remember it took, I don't know. I mean, we lived in total poverty, man. I remember it took like a week and a half for my mom to save up enough money to get me a pair of dollar house shoes and the gas money to get a couple miles up the road to bring me fucking shoes, man. And it's like, it's really easy to forget. It's really easy to forget with some Time Clean, man. It's easy to forget where the despair that you feel when you come into Narcotics Anonymous, which is one of the reasons why I fucking love Narcotics Anonymous so much, is because we relate on a level of feelings. Like, you guys, I don't really have to explain to you guys what it feels like to use against your will. You know what I'm saying? You know what the fuck that's like. I remember staring at myself in the mirror, begging myself to quit. Begging myself to fucking quit. Like, who the fuck are you? Why can you not stop? You've got a fucking 2-year-old daughter that you're neglecting, man. You just took all her fucking Christmas presents back. She's got no fucking diaper. She hasn't eaten. Nobody's taking care of her. And it was like, you know how it is, man. It's like I lived and breathed to use, man. I was a vessel for the disease of addiction. All of my hopes and dreams and aspirations as a child and as a young person, gone, bro. Fucking gone. And when you're in that state of mind, you don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck. It's like, well, I'll just get one more. And shit, at the end, it didn't work anymore. It was just about like getting the next one. And you always felt the best when the dope man would be like, okay, come on. And then you'd be like, yes, oh, fuck us, thank fucking God. So good, let's go, And as soon as you get it in, it's like, shit, now we gotta get more, man, fuck. Shit. So I had actually gone to one other NA meeting before I got clean. And I'll tell you guys that story. Nick and Erica were there. Some people were there. Several people were there. Because I was loaded. And I just tagged along with some people that were going because they didn't want me to be in their house. And they were like, brother, we're going to an NA meeting. They were trying that shit out. And they're like, you can't stay here. I'm like, it looks like I'm going. And I guess it was a celebration because I remember when we got there was like pop and pizza and cake and shit. And I was like, this shit rules. They got food here, man. They got food. And apparently, I kind of remember, but from what I am told, like after every time everybody would share, I'd be the guy going like, hell yeah, brother, fucking yeah. Preach it, dude. You're doing great. And I ended up that evening leaving with some girl that I just met at the meeting and living in the worst project in Huntington, West Virginia for a while. We lived together, and that was fucking horrible. But the first meeting I went to back, clean, was at that same spot. And those same motherfuckers were there. And I remember, and I was like, holy shit, man. And I remember hearing people share, because when you get clean, the disease of addiction, it turns you into someone that you're not. And your whole life, your whole universe is using and your own problems and your own shit and you think that you're so different and everything is just you, everything's coming at you and the world is coming at you. And you hear people start to fucking share, people that are like clean, when you first get clean, you relate to the people most that have up to a couple years clean. So these guys are talking about shit that I'm going through right now or just went through, and how they dealt with it. They're not using anymore, and life's getting better. And man, my mind was just blown. I just couldn't believe that because for the first time in my life, I felt connected. I felt connected to other people, and like a lot of people say that, and I always think about this, like. A lot of people say the best day of their life was when their kid was born. When the day that my kid was born, I don't remember feeling a fucking thing. I was strung the fuck out, and I was like, okay, I'm glad that's over. I went and schemed and figured out how we could do something. You know what I'm saying? And that's what that was about. And so, when I found Narcotics Anonymous, it was the first time I ever found connection to other human beings, man. And it was overwhelming. I remember when I first got clean, I just sobbed my eyes out for weeks. I would wake up crying and go to sleep crying. And I started using when I was a little bit younger, and I was already using my drug of choice or whatever. When I was 20 years old, I got cancer. And obviously, after that, it kind of spurred the addiction in all facets. It's made it spiral pretty quickly with the self-pity and I have something I can use to get more from people type of thing, right? But the day I was leaving the hospital, I found out I was going to be a father. And I was like, no fucking way, dude. This is a shitstorm, It was like, damn it. Not cool. Because I was 20 years old, man. I was like, having cancer, and she was terrible. After she was born, we used for, a few years after that. So, I know what it's like to get clean, and when I got clean and I had this 3 or 4 year old daughter, I was so anxious to be even around her. I didn't have any idea how to be a father. I never had a father figure. I didn't have a great parental figure, and I had no idea. And so all I knew from parenting was from people who had no idea how to parent. You know what I'm saying? And so I understand what that's like, that journey for people to get their kid back, and people expect you to immediately be a fucking good mom or immediately be a good ass dad. And it's not like that, because I chose using over my daughter a lot. You know what I'm saying? For years. And so it was a real struggle, and it took a lot of hard work for us to get where we are with that shit, right now. Right now, she's fucking 12 years old. She's 12 years old. I have 2 daughters. I have an 11 and a 12-year-old, and they're super fucking cool, and they're my best friends, and I feel like the best fucking dad in the world, and that's just because of you guys, man. You know what I'm saying? You guys have always held us up. You have always held my family up. Ever since we got here. Because when I came back, when I came back from that relapse, and I got clean again, I had Becca with me, my wife. And she was like, you know, she had dreadlocks and shit, and people were like, God damn, what's he doing? You know what I'm saying? What the hell's he doing? She's a hippie. She didn't even use drugs. She's not an addict. But people didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? But we've raised this family together, and the only reason we've been able to do it is because of you guys. Everything we've been through, you guys have been there, man. You know what I'm saying? So like when I got clean, everything's a fucking struggle, man. Everything's a struggle when you get clean. All these emotions and like shit, bro. I still procrastinate the fuck out of everything. I don't want to pay bills. What is that about with us? Is that a thing? Is that if you get a bill in the mail, you're like, well, it'll fucking take care of itself, I'm sure. Right? What the fuck is that? It's like I want to live this life, but I don't want to do any of the work. I just want to look like I'm here, and everybody else take care of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Damn. So we decided we were going to work our fucking ass off. And what it really makes me think of, when I look around this room at all you guys, I just I just see the most potential in the world. Right? Like our people in Narcotics Anonymous are saving the fucking world type of shit. Because I know people, I know the tenacity we have. Because we are fucking drug addicts. You know what I'm saying? I know the tenacity we have. I know what we can do when we set our minds to shit. And I've seen people over and over and over again get clean and start their own businesses and go back to school and do all this shit that I never thought was possible for myself. I thought I was going to listen to Pantera and fight people until the day that I die. Right? So I get clean and I think I have no potential. I have constant negative self-talk. I have terrible anxiety. And all this shit we're just trying to figure out. And it's only because of you guys that were here when I got here that you guys showed me the fucking way. The only reason that I thought that I could go back to college, it was because Tony P went to fucking college. And that's the only fucking reason I thought that I could do it. And I think about that all the fucking time. I think about this shit all the time because I know that there's not something that I have gone through or will go through in Narcotics Anonymous that one of you guys hasn't gone through. And I know that you'll fucking talk to me about it. And we can help each other. We'll find a new way to live. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how to deal with my emotions. I don't know how to live on my own. You know, the old thing, it's like, my best thinking got me here. I was like about to die when I washed up in the NA. And you guys have showed me the way, man. Because like it's not about the drugs. It's a disease of feelings. You know what I'm saying? And like it's like I don't know how to cope with all these. We heard last night about drug addicts having an extreme case of the human condition, and I think about that all the time, especially with character defects and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like there are these character traits that I have, and I've got to take them to the extreme all the time, and they cross over into harming other people, and they become defective. And I'm always doing this shit and pushing the boundaries, and it always causes me pain. And it's because I'm not geared toward fulfillment. You know what I'm saying? I'm a drug addict who hasn't used, so I'm in an abnormal state today. And I'm speaking at Ripley right now, and this is very abnormal. I don't usually do this. So, this is really weird, man. And so, like, you guys have shown me how to live. And you constantly show me how to live. And so you guys told me when I got here, it's like, no one ever told me that recovery was going to be easy. No one ever said it. Said it was an simple program, because it fucking is. You know what I'm saying? It's 12 steps. They're laid out in order for a reason. You guys are here to show me the way. But none of this shit's been easy. It takes a lot of hard work, man. And so, like, we put our nose to the fucking grindstone and made a life. And you guys held us up through the whole time. So, like, I remember getting, we didn't have, when I got clean, we were fucking homeless, man. We didn't have anywhere to go. We were living at people's houses with our kids and shit. And I remember getting our first apartment. And you guys being there. I remember her sending a picture of the key to our first apartment, man. And being like, holy shit. Like, maybe we can do something. Maybe we can do this. And then we stayed in that apartment for 6 years and worked our ass off while she went to nursing school, while I worked. And then I went to college, right? And I got a degree in physical therapy. And then we bought a house. And now we have a sick fucking house that our kids live in. And as soon as we bought the house, I was like, fuck that shit. I'm going to go do tattoos, man. I remember sitting Becca down being like, listen. I had just accepted a job at the hospital. I hadn't even started yet. I hadn't even started my first day. And I was like, took her to Mexican. I was like, listen, get some queso, honey. It's going to be fun. You're like, okay. All right, listen, here's the deal. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to go be a tattooer now. And she was like, no, you are not. Absolutely not. But, it was something I've wanted to do. And I've been thinking about this a lot. I think about it a lot, about Lost Dreams Awakened. Because it's something that I wanted to do since I was like 12 years old. Before I got to do it, it was something that if I ever pictured myself being able to do it, it was like this far up dream that I had already accepted was never going to happen for me. You know what I'm saying? It was never going to happen, and that's just something I was just going to have to learn to accept. You know what I'm saying? But when I expressed this to her and talked to you guys about it, and through Narcotics Anonymous, we've grown the fuck up in Narcotics Anonymous, man. We were fucking kids when we showed up here, and we've grown up. You guys have brought us up, man. And we were able to communicate in a way that you guys taught us how to communicate. Like, real healthy communication. And we were able to talk about it, and she was like, fuck it, all right. She was like, if this is what you really want to do, I'll fucking lean in. And she leaned in, man. And so now it's like, I get to do, and I almost want to just like discredit it, being like, you guys think it's stupid, you know what I'm saying? But I get to do something every day that I'm genuinely a happy fucking person. I don't have anxiety anymore. I'm not bummed out all the time. Like, I feel fulfilled in my life. And I feel genuinely happy with my life. And that's only because you guys were here. Because when we got clean, like I told you, we didn't have anywhere to fucking go, man. And it was only because of the people being like, come on out to eat. And we'd be like, we don't have any money. You know what I'm saying? We're like, well, we'll get you. And then when you're kicking fucking ass, you get the next person. And so I remember the first couple of times we being able to like, come out to dinner, we'll get you. Being like, fuck yeah, we finally get to pay it forward, dude. Yeah. I don't know, man. Life's fucking trip. Because I remember sitting there at my first Ripley hearing Ivan speak about people in Narcotics Anonymous changing the world. And now I have an understanding of what that means. You know what I'm saying? I understand what that means. Because not only did Narcotics Anonymous save my life, it saved my children's lives. It saved my wife's life. And it hopefully will continue down the generations. It's like Narcotics Anonymous, and my sponsor, we always talk about this. We learn how to take the hit and not pass it on. You know what I'm saying? Hurt people, but not when we have you guys around. To share that shit with and understand how to cope with it and how to move on and how to be a better person because of hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because we are continually stopping this generational trauma and the generational disease of addiction in its fucking tracks. And it's like present. I mean, look at all you motherfuckers, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a fucking miracle. It really fucking is, dude. So, there's been many times in my recovery that I've had these spiritual experiences. And they're always when things seem really serendipitous, where it's like, it's like my head pops out of my ass. And I'm looking around like, oh, how the fuck did we end up here right now, dude? Like when I had my kids at a Taylor Swift concert. in this giant ass auditorium, and Taylor Swift's on a metal snake, and she's like flying around everywhere, and my kids are like, fuck yeah, and they're like little, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, holy shit, we kick ass now. Like, these kids have a good ass life, dude, you know? Life's good, man. And it's hard because being here for a while, it's hard to not get a calloused heart sometimes, because I put so many of my really good friends in the ground, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, the way I've mourned really hard, but the way that I've, learned to cope with it is like, I know for me, it's like their energy is going back into the universe. And I feel like part of that is going into all of us. And I know that they would want us to be here right now. You know what I'm saying? I know that what they did was not who they are in their heart. Because I know when I was using, it wasn't who I was in my heart. A lot of my early step work was like about becoming more of the man that I wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? And how I have all these behaviors and the ways that I act and that I don't like, and I don't know why I do it, and why am I so jealous and angry and anxious and all this shit, and I just fucking can't control it, man. And it's like my sponsor would always tell me, you have to act your way into better thinking. This is a thinking disease. I will never think my way around the disease of addiction. I have to act my way into better thinking. It's fucking fake it till you make it, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we do here, man. I just follow your all's lead. And it's early on. It's like, I remember before I relapsed, I was working at a BP in a really shitty part of town, and Nick C came in, and he wanted to buy some cigarettes, because he still smoked then. And I was like, here's 2 packs, bro. Trying to slide him one, like stealing. And my punk rock ass was like, fuck BP, dude. They won't miss the cigarettes. I used to steal shit from there every day to eat. And he was like, no, man. I'll just pay for the one. And I was like, pussy, you know what I'm saying? But this guy stayed clean, and I got high. And there's a reason for it. And I talked to my sponsor about it, being like, okay, let's talk about this, Jason L. Why is it not cool to steal from Walmart? And he's like, you got to take all that other shit out of it. He'd be like, ask yourself, do you agree with stealing? Would you like it if someone stole from you? I'm like, no, of course not. He'd be like, okay, well that's principle, man. And if you believe in this principle and you're acting in a different way, then it's going to cause this dissonance, this tension in your soul, man. And the only way you're going to be able to resolve that is by using something, And thank God I haven't had to put drugs in my body, man. Thank God. And I think about it a lot. I think about Max, my man Max L from Portsmouth, saying, you never really get clean, the dope just changes. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh shit, he fucking nails me down. Fuck. It's like, because I'm constantly looking for things to make me feel different or feel better or whatever. But it's like, you guys have given me, you guys give me fucking strength, man. We don't have to use. We never have to use again, no matter what. And definitely don't ever have to feel alone again. I feel like we're super fortunate in this region to have this incredible thing we get to do every 6 months. It's like, damn, this seems like a once-in-a-lifetime thing with all you sons of bitches. This is awesome, man. And getting to come and see old faces and see people I've seen here for the last decade and new people, and the motherfuckers are lifting up on the chair, and I'm like, yeah, sick. I know what that feels like, man. I know what that feels like. And I hope that shit carries on. And, hey, I'm out of time, bro. I ain't got time for I told you I retired the bird story. Like Tony retired this drowning story. Anyway. You gotta tell the bird story now. I can't tell the bird story. Alright, I'll tell the goddamn bird story. It's not even that cool of a story. It's not even that cool of a story. Corey's just an asshole. It's a I don't know what you'd call it. I'm not that smart. Anecdote. Thank you, smart wife, Becky. So, I will close with this. Like I had it planned. I'll close with this. One time, we were watching TV. And we were watching, it's an anecdote on how we hold each other up in Narcotics Anonymous. How this all works. A fucking second step. You guys are a power greater than me. And I view you guys and spiritual principles as my higher power, and that's how I fucking get down. Whatever. So, it's called The Science of the Swarm, right? And it was a shitload of parakeets. And I didn't know, parakeets, right? The little bird people keep in cages. I didn't know that parakeets came in swarms. Swarms. Not just like a few of them, like a big ass swarm, right? So what they would do is they'd act as a swarm. So when these motherfucking crows would come in, they would swoop in trying to get one of the parakeets, right, to eat him. And they would act as a unit. They would all act as a unit to move around and distract the motherfucking crow so he couldn't get to one of the parakeets. And they saved each other like that. But every now and again, some asshole parakeet would be like, I know better. I think I know better. I could probably do this one more time. And so this asshole parakeet would fly down to because they were taking turns going down and getting drinks and avoiding crows. Well, this guy was like, I'm done with you motherfuckers. I'm isolating. You guys don't like me. I'm going to get a drink by myself. So he'd go get a drink by himself, and that crow would be on his ass immediately, just tearing his ass up. And if the parakeet could make it back into the swarm, they didn't shoot him. Right? We don't shoot our wounded. They don't have guns, but they didn't kill him. They took care of him. They put him in the center of the swarm, and they took care of him and moved him around until he was able to fly on his own again. And I remember watching it like, holy shit, that's what we do in NA, man.